Okay, happy spiritual Sunday. Yeah. I was telling my kids, it's, even though this happens every week, it fascinates me. People from Hong Kong, Cape Town, all over the world, and here we are sitting in Boca. And what's making it happen? I mean, if you really look at it, what is this? It's a piece of plastic and metal, right? Computer. And somehow there's all this other stuff out there that makes them show up here or we show up there. What happened to time, space, and motion? It's disappearing. It's disappearing. Like I tell people, it's not we're getting older that the weeks seem to go by faster. Time is disappearing. So from week to week, it's getting shorter and shorter time. Let me ask you this. Can you remember a vacation or, I don't know, some event, a birthday party, something that happened to you 10 years ago? A really nice thing. You had a great party, a nice surprise, a wonderful gift, something. Can you think of something that happened to you 10 years ago like that? What happened to the 10 years? In a second, you can remember it. And if we really closed our eyes and we really sort of focused and got into a meditative state, you could actually feel those same emotions. You could be there. I mean, we have practical experiences, daily experiences that time, space, and motion disappearing, that the spiritual world is what we teach it is. And then we get involved back into the physicality. We call it the mud of this world, right? What they did to me, what they said to me, what's going on in the world is this. Okay, let's see. So let's get on with it because otherwise I'm going to tell you everything before I get to my own notes. So let's start. The topic of the day, take it personally or don't take it personally. All right, so let's start with our affirmation. Oh, yes. Let's put it up here for those of you who are here. And again, the power of our affirmation is to keep reminding ourselves and take out the false beliefs and keep reinforcing the true beliefs. Who we really are and what we really here to do. So let's say together, those of you online, yes, I make sure this week you can see it. Together, consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And that means everybody. So let's see today. So we want to talk about personal or not personal. And it was interesting because I mentioned it last week, and all of a sudden, it must have been a hot button. Because I said, if you remind me, we'll talk about not taking it personally. And few people already wrote me on that Sunday, Monday. Oh yeah, I'm waiting to hear this. So it's really a tough situation. And then somebody sends me an article from, I won't say the magazine, but what do they call them? From an Ivy League school review. How when people say don't take it personally, they say basically hokum. That's BS. You must take it personally. Okay, so let's see. What did we just say? Consciousness is everything. So let's start with the idea of things that we don't want to take personally. Okay, how not to take things personally. So let's just start so you'll have it in your mind. Think of something that happened this last week that you did take personally. Something somebody said, something they did, something that happened to you that, you took it personally and you got hurt, angry, upset, whatever it may have been. Okay, just so you can have a reference point that's practical. Because like I've learned for the 36 years I'm in the center, if we're teaching Kabbalah and all it is information in your brain and maybe fascinating stories or facts and figures, forget it. We'll close up now, leave. Plenty of other people doing that now, right? Since the 90s. All of a sudden, when the Kabbalah Center became known around the world, like everything else, all of a sudden there's a lot of imitators came along. People who said, no, you're not allowed to learn Kabbalah. Suddenly they're teaching Kabbalah classes. People who said, no, I have no idea what that is. Suddenly advertising themselves as Kabbalists, what have you. But the center is one thing. How are you going to change your life with this wisdom? How are we going to live in, as we said, and those of you who are online with us, you missed it, but we talked a little before about removing the angel of death. Right? The bottom line is what we're here to do is to live eternally, to live like the Creator, and therefore live eternally. Happiness and joy all the time. Simple, right? How many of you would like to have eternal bliss? Exactly. So what's the issue? We don't want it enough. Because when we want something enough, we'll do everything we need to do to make it happen. So it's nice to say, but remember, we got that parasite in our head that says, oh, eternal life can't happen. Show me in history. Even if you go back in the origin, 960 years, 950 years, okay, it's not quite no death, but it sure sounds like a lot. And yet now we came down to whatever it was a while ago, 30 some odd years, and now we're back up to whatever it is now, 80 years is normal, things like that. No, the light never disappears. And if we will be pure conduits of that light, we don't ever have to disappear either. So, okay, so go back. So in the endless world, those of you who've taken the Kabbalah 1, you understand it a little more deeply. For those of you who haven't, we'll just try and touch on it simple. The Creator, which we cannot really give a name, but we'll just call it the Creator, had this infinite energy force we call the light. Source of all eternal bliss, all the goodness, all the amazing things you could ever imagine in your life. If you accumulated every good thing in your life up to this point and you multiplied it by 100 million times, that's the light. That's the light. So the Creator had light that it wanted to share, because in sharing it's revealed. If you want to give somebody a gift and you bought the gift and you keep it at home and you never give it to them, are you really happy with your giving? Are you really? No, you have no joy of sharing because you didn't share it. But once you share it now, the joy of sharing it is now manifest. You feel it, you live it, right? It's something you experience. And they also benefit because they're excited about the gift you gave them. So the Creator created us, but there was only one of us. One vessel, we call it, one container, which we call our soul, that then was filled with the light of the Creator. So you and I have two natures from our point of view. We have the vessel, which is our desire to receive infinite joy, happiness, and peace, but from the light. That's what the Creator made us, right? The vessel wants the light, and we want all the joy and all the goodness that the Creator wants to give us with the light. And then, obviously, we have the light in us, which is the nature of sharing, like physical light. It always shares. You turn on a light, it never goes into itself, it always goes out. And it'll shine on anything and anyone to the limit in the physical world to the extent of its intensity. So a little birthday candle, even you might be difficult to see, but a birthday candle, even in a stadium, hundreds of feet away, will still have some impact. But it's a very minor energy. You put on stadium lights, now you much more quickly, you get rid of all the darkness there. So we have those two natures. We came into this world with those two natures because if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have free will. Free will means you have a choice. You have a choice. So we have the choice. Share our light, the light that the Creator gave us, or seek to receive light because as on the soul level, as a vessel, we want happiness and joy. And that's our battle in this world. That's why consciousness is everything. Because if you understand you're filled with light, then the only thing you need to do is let the light shine. You drive your car at night, what allows you to keep the roadway illuminated? Simple terms, the headlights. But if you're driving and you turn off the headlights, suddenly the darkness shows up, hard to see your way. So as long as you leave the light on, the darkness is always going away. And every time you move forward, the next piece of the road is also now illuminated. So you can see your way, you can navigate and not go off the road or things like that. So how much more the spiritual? If we're always shining the light, then our world is always illuminated. Is it not? So the only reason you and I don't see clearly the answers to our problems, we get caught in the chaos and the negativity of this world because we stop to some degree emanating our light, right? Or you turn it down. Because you and I, if you're here, if you're watching, obviously you're good people, kind people, already sharing in many ways. But God gave us 100%. And if we're not shining 100%, there's more to go. That's why we feel a lack in our life, because we're not 100%, but we have inside of us. If we didn't have the 100% inside of us, why would we feel that we're supposed to have any more than we have? Right? If you came into this world, and as you were growing up or whatever, you had less than you have now, and now you've got double. Everything your parents had, everything you ever had, let's say in your teenage years. Why would you seek more? If you weren't already full of more, had the potential for more. That's what we've got, consciousness. Every human being on earth wants more because we're filled with 100% light. So now, in this world, we're here just to manifest it. And what happens? We have those two choices. We can act like the light or the vessel. And if any of you have ever heard of all the ways they call it, but what the Kabbalist, Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center 100 years ago, in my mind, made it very simple. Like attracts like. He calls it the law of affinity. Affinity means like attracts like. So when you hear opposites attract, then you already know that's the voice of that parasite, that adversary challenger that's trying to sap our energy from us by telling us opposites attract. No, like attracts like is 100%. Similarity of form. So if the Creator shares its light 100%, our job is to share our light 100%. Then we will have the same thing the Creator has, infinite bliss. Can anybody hurt the Creator? Is there any defect in the Creator? Is there any lack of light in the Creator? No, because it's shining its light 24/7. Does it care people don't believe in the Creator? No. Does it care people curse the Creator? No. Does it care people in any way criticize? No. It's shining its light 100%, so it's 100% fulfilled. Our job is simply to do the same. But we know what we call reactive behavior. When a person acts with anger, jealousy, greed, ego, what do? They put a curtain that hides some of their light from being able to be expressed in their life, manifest in their life. It's not a difficult concept, right? If you put blindfolds over your eyes, even though your eyes are functional in 2020, what do you see? Nothing, darkness. So it's not your eyes aren't working, and it's not that the room isn't filled with light. It's you put a curtain, a blindfold between the light in the room and your eyes, your visual receptors. Clear? Not such a difficult concept, yes? The other thing is, though, what is the other option? We have the option to shine our light. Unconditionally. You know, we keep hearing unconditional love, unconditional love, unconditional love. It's a nice idea, but again, the parasite gets in there and misconstrues it. How many of you ever had a bad relationship? Exactly. But in the beginning or near the beginning, I'm so in love. Ooh, you're not even walking on the ground. You're like floating. It's so amazing. And then all of a sudden, all your friends say, hey, where are you? You don't call us anymore. You don't talk to us anymore. So busy with that person. I'm in love. I'm in love. And then what happens? The curtain goes away. You see the person for who they really are. You see you don't fit. In best, okay, you see you no longer have affinity. Worse, I hate them, what they did, something like that. So what happened to love? Does the light ever disappear? The infinite light of the Creator. It's infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent. It's everywhere. It'll never go away. So then we can't fall in and out of the light. You and I can put the blindfolds on, but the light never disappears. That's why we have to be careful when you say, oh, unconditional love. Or I love your neighbor as yourself. So what does the parasite do with that? It's a nice thought. You and I would say, in our terms, Kabbalah Center terms, means shine your light 24/7. Because everyone grasps light. Love, we have different ideas. God, we have different ideas. But light is light. Who on earth doesn't know if you turn on a candle, you light a flashlight or whatever it may be, darkness will go away. 100% of the time we see it. So this is why the Kabbalists explain light. Because number one, okay, let's not go there. We'll go way off. But light. So what does the parasite do with love your neighbors yourself? Oh, yes. That's the ultimate. Love your neighbors yourself. So first I have to learn to love me. So I'll love me. I go to the spa. I go take care of myself. I buy whatever I want for myself, this and this. And when I love myself enough, then I'll love you also. No, stupid. The opposite. Love your neighbors yourself as yourself. That means as I want to be loved, I have to love you also. As I want kindness and forgiveness, I have to be kind and forgiving to you. As yourself, not after yourself. So we say unconditional, shining light. Simple, clear, everybody can get it. It's easier to see where we are and where we aren't. So get into this personal idea. So we understand the idea of the curtain. Science tells us energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. So let me give you this example. So imagine, and this is a story that happened to me, one of the students that came, when I first moved to Florida, actually, so it must have been 2004 or 5. No, 5 or 6. So she comes, she's telling me the story, which I'm going to explain here. So imagine, go back to your childhood, maybe, but imagine, okay, let's depersonalize it for now. Imagine a 10-year-old wants his toy, sees it on TV, begging his parents, give me, give me, give me, give me. The parents say, no, you haven't behaved well enough, no toy. 10 years old, that kid probably wants to throw a tantrum, scream and yell, say not so nice things to the parents, this and this, but scared of the parents, what the punishment could be, so just takes it in. What did they do spiritually? Put a curtain. Created a curtain of anger, resentment, whatever it might be. Now, grows up, 12, 15, 18, teenager, gets in school, starts, dating, goes through high school, college, whatever it is, starts working, this and this. So now imagine you have a 50-year-old. So it's 40 years later, 50-year-old owns a business, and this is the case. This woman that came to the center, she was one of the staff in the office. And she's coming to tell me one day, she says, she doesn't understand it. Her boss, 50-year-old, professional, right? Whatever it is, 6 years of college to become, I don't even want to say what he was, but, to come to this point. And all of a sudden, he's throwing a tantrum in the office, screaming and yelling like a kid. So I looked at her, and as I'm sharing with you now, because why? The 10-year-old inside him didn't disappear. And that curtain called resentment and anger and the desire to throw a tantrum and scream at his parents was still there. He never transformed it. So I'm sure if you look between the 10 and the 50 that I knew of, I'm sure 20 years old also threw tantrums in silly ways when you look at a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old. So I explained to her, I said, yes, because the 10-year-old inside him, who as a 10-year-old couldn't scream at his parents, now screaming at his parents. But you happen to be there in the office when he's screaming. But he's having the tantrum because he's a 10-year-old kid inside the 50-year-old body having this tantrum. Like he did when he was 20, 30, and 40, screamed at somebody else, or like you and I might do. I hope it's okay I say this. You're driving in your car, nobody hears you, you're all by yourself, but somebody does something in front of you, right? Because you're excited to go to some event, and then suddenly there's the traffic or whatever, and now you're upset. You may not make it on time. Tell me you have never, certainly before Kabbalah, right? Maybe not since Kabbalah, but before, you also had a tantrum in the car. What are you stupid? Get out of my way. Like you're throwing the same tantrum, like a little kid would. Why? Because we didn't remove the curtain. So the curtain is still there blocking the 10-year-old. Think of it. I've shared with you here, it's almost gone. It's got to be, I hate to tell you how many years, but it's got to be 58 years, something like that. When I was a kid, I was trying to open a model paint jar, and back in the days it was real model paint, and I took a linoleum knife, and as I was trying to scrape it like this, I cut myself. So here, 50 some odd years, almost 60 years later, I still have a little bit of the scar. So why didn't it go away if it's 50 years, 60 years later? You understand, in that same way? So that 10-year-old curtain that was never transformed still exists within us. So then whatever happened to you this week that you were thinking of taking personally, no, now you want to look at it differently. It's that person just letting out their frustration or whatever it is to whoever it was back then. Not you now. I don't care they use your name. It's still not personal. And I came up with this, listen to this. Where did I write? Have you ever, in any way, you're by yourself, you're cooking a meal, or for some of you, you're building something. So you're hammering, and it's just you by yourself, right? So you're hammering a nail into something, and you miss the nail and you hit your finger, right? Have you ever screamed? Said a few expletive, deleted, right? Those kinds of words. Now, if somebody were standing around you, are you saying it really at them? Why are you screaming? Because your finger hurts. You missed the nail, you hit your finger. But people there, in that case, most of them don't think you're talking to them. right? No matter what you say. You may be screaming at the nail, right? Or the hammer or something like that, but they're probably not going to take it personally because they see what you're doing. But do you remember when cell phones first came out, and there used to be little cartoons even, right? Somebody's talking on the cell phone, and also today we got all these little earphone things. So people walking down the street, in the old days before cell phones, you just knew they were a little off. They must have been around talking to themselves, right? They're walking down the street talking, hey, what's going on? I see you. You think, uh-oh, cuckoo, like this. Now you have to look and say, do they have something in their ears? But you remember when it first came out, you're walking, you're not used to it, and they're talking as they're walking, and they say something to the person on the phone. You're an idiot. What's going on with you? And as you pass them, you say, what? What'd you say to me? What'd you say to me? You don't even know the person. Why are you taking it personally? You get the idea? Now, that we can say, oh, yeah, okay, now I get it, the earphone, and they bang their finger and all of this. What's the difference? The 10-year-old inside that person who did what they did to you this week, it's the same thing. They're not yelling at you. They're yelling at their stupidity. When they were a kid, they're yelling at some frustrating situation they had. Something. It's not personal. And the sad part is, our opponent, that parasite that sucks energy from us because it has none of its own, just tells us to react. We'll get angry at them. They must be upset because they're just letting out their negativity. So who gets all that energy? The opponent, the parasite. And then you wonder why your negativity gets stronger and stronger. Why all of a sudden it looks like more people bothering you and more things disturbing you. Because you keep giving it energy. And our job is to take that energy back because it's our soul's energy. We're filled with 100%. So you can't really give it away per se, but let's say you extend it out there, 20, 30% of your soul's light, some way you got to get it back. But the only way to get it back is what? Remove the curtain, which is why we understand that you cannot live this life without one way or another being challenged or challenging yourself to step into your darkness. Face the anger, face the fear, face the insecurity, face the greed, face the selfishness, face whatever it is. Because you got to transform it. You got to grab the curtain, so to speak, and pull it away so your light shines. You can't do it without dealing with the curtain. Okay, I'm going to ignore that curtain. I'm going to go over here and try and get great. You can only get up to what percent? Let's say that curtain of the 10-year-old was 10% of his soul's light. So let's say he even came to Kabbalah at 15 and he really starts pushing himself and sharing and doing and scanning and all that stuff. So he's 50 years old now. He's got 90% of his potential. He's shining 90%. Can he really be eternally happy? No. Why not? Because he's missing 10 and he still feels inside the 10 he's supposed to have. So it's some way, shape, or form, he's got to face that 10% of the 10-year-old screaming at mom and dad because he didn't get his toy. He didn't get his way. The universe is not going to let us go until we get rid of all our curtains. And as much as some of us think, well, look at the world, they're being punished for their bad behavior. No, if you're growing spiritually, you're not being punished, you're being rewarded by being shown where your curtains are. Because behind that curtain is the light you've been asking for health, for peace, for love, for prosperity, for clarity, for protection. You can't have any good without the light. How long can a person exist if they stop breathing? A couple minutes? Even some of these divers, whatever, 16, 20 minutes? But can anybody live, let's say, an hour without breathing? No, so you got to breathe moment to moment. So what about the light of the Creator? We have nothing. We are nothing without the light of the Creator. We need it moment to moment. So we need all of it because once you get to a certain, like this kid, we said he's at 90%. He still needs the 10%. So either he challenges himself or he gets challenged. Because here's the curtain. It's got to be thrown at us some way or another. So then what do we learn here then? Pause. Stop. Stop. Think. They're not yelling at me. They're not screaming at me. And you know what? Frankly, even if they are, do I have to take it personally? I once did it here on Sunday when we were in the other building, when I wasn't having to sit in front of the computer here. But you could go to the YouTube Spiritual Sunday channel and look up, "Don't take the pen," or "Stop taking the pen." You don't have to take it personally. You know what they teach? They was told, I never went, if you ever had my cooking, you'd know I never went to culinary school. But the thing they always tell me, the first thing they teach you, the first day, you and I, if you're cooking in the kitchen and you like drop a spoon or whatever, the moment it gets out of your hand, what's the first automatic reaction? You reach for it, right? If it's about to fall, you reach for it. The first day of culinary school, they teach people, they have to train that out of them. Because if they go to reach for a knife, especially knives they use in the cooking school, they're so sharp, just grabbing it, they could lose a few fingers. So they have to train out of the person that automatic knee-jerk reaction to grab it so it doesn't fall. So do we have to take the pen? No. We're just so trained to take the pen that you have to really pause and think, I don't want to take the pen. Why should I want to take it? Let them have the negativity. They're spewing out the negativity I don't want. Oh my God, you really? Okay. Forgive me. Oh yeah. Okay, let's say, just again, depersonalize it. So when you see the movies of somebody getting really drunk and their friends are trying to take them and they start to vomit, how many people want to stand in front of them while they're vomiting? Why not? Why not? What the heck? Because you don't want that stuff all over you, right? So somebody's vomiting out their anger, jealousy, fear, insecurity, whatever. Why do we say, great, give it to me? I'll take it personally. Take it means I voluntarily took it. They didn't force me, but I'm just like dropping that thing. You're just so trained to pick it up. So we're just trained to take it personally. No, but I don't have to. That's the pause. Pause. I don't want to take it personally. Envision them spewing out like they're sick from drinking. If you had a really good friend who fell and scraped their knee, would you laugh at them? Okay, maybe for a second. But after that, right, you want to go help them, no? So if we're now understanding that these people are saying or doing whatever it is because they're hurt, the 10-year-old is still hurt, holding that resentment, holding that anger, which affected all of his life for those 40 years in some way or another, right? Of that lack, that limitation, that frustration, that stress, whatever it was. So I don't care who they are, because we often remind ourselves there's nobody out there but you and me. In fact, from my world, there's only me, which we'll get into in a minute. But here's somebody, even you don't know them, but they're a human being. They are part of your soul. So just pause, and instead of taking it personally, start just, like we always say, just send light. Take some of the light from your soul and just send it out. Because that's how you're going to start breaking through your curtain. Because you wanted to scream and yell, you wanted to take it personally, means your curtain is also being affected. Like attracts like. So instead of giving into your curtain and them giving into theirs, no, send light through your curtain. Start to heal them. Send light to their soul. Start to wake up. So the 10-year-old starts to realize, wait a second, maybe there's another reason mom and dad didn't give them the toy or whatever it may have been. And now they start to have more compassion. They start to have more forgiveness, a little more kindness, a little less anger, a little less judgment in a negative way on other people. Once you wake up the light inside people, light will take away darkness. Meanwhile, what did you do? You're removing your curtain. You're removing some of your curtain. Now more of your light is shining. So when you walk away from that situation, you're shining more light. Which means other things are clear. You don't fall into the same mud. You don't have to attract, like attracts like, another situation to deal with your fear, your anger, your insecurity, whatever it was. So stop taking it personally that way. They're just dealing with it. I mean, come on, we've all had it, right? You have a terrible day at work or whatever, it's a tough day. And when you go home, are you, at least in the first moment, are you more happy and this and this? No, you're easily triggered. You're so upset, stressed out from the day that any little thing that happens, you scream and yell. But are you really screaming and yelling at what's happening in front of you? No. It's really about releasing some of the stress and some of the pressure that you felt during the day. So again, it's not really personal about those people. So we have to realize the same way. When people are screaming or whatever it is, not personal about us. All the stuff that's going on out there, do you really think it's personal? Whichever side of any discordant situation, whatever you want to call it, race, color, economics, politics, whatever it is, They look like they're talking about the other people, but now you can understand. They're letting out their own life's frustration, all of their own blockages. It's just their opponent, that parasite in their mind, which is connected to the parasite in the other person's mind. They're in conspiracy against the two people. So yes, they sound like it's personal. Oh, I hate you. You, exactly you. Another person who's got, let's say, insecurity inside them, pushes their insecurity, and now their parasite telling, well, scream back at them, right? Tell them a few things that I can't say on Facebook. But he begins with the same letter. Okay. So, it's the people here. That's all I can tell you. It's not me. Okay. You know what he said? That's it. Pause. Don't take it personally now. Just start emanating light. Turn it around. Now, let's look at the other side, right? Because consciousness is everything. So I just threw out there a second, and you and I have talked about it often. There is nobody else in my world, from my point of view. Yes, there's only one soul, but that means, from my point of view, you are not you. From my point of view. Who are you? All of you watching, all of you here? You're a piece of me, because there's only one soul. Only one. God only created one being. If you read even the simple story of the Bible, there was one person, then it was divided into Adam and Eve, and then divided into the 8 billion of us. But there's only one soul. One vessel out of the endless world was in that one being. Now it's just sort of extended like an octopus, if you want to look at it that way, or like the web. Simple terms, and some of you more technical than me, but let's just understand. One World Wide Web, it just has 8 billion tentacles to all the computers or phones or however that works, right? But there's only one web. Same thing, there's only one soul. So from my point of view, there's only me. You are all extensions of me. You are all facets of me. So however I look at you is really just a reflection of me. So then, from that point of view, I hope you got the first part. When people screaming, yelling, and they're upset and bothered and this, no, when you're listening to what they say, you don't take it personally, right? Because it's their frustration, their whatever. But now the Kabbalists teach us that the world is our mirror, meaning, like I just said, everybody out there is just an extension of me. So if I'm driving down the street and that guy, is driving a little slower, stops at the yellow light or whatever it is that used to really push my buttons, thank goodness, not so much anymore. Now I've changed it. Now instead of anything else, I go, really? Really? Okay. Still, I guess there's a little bit more to go. But if you had heard me 40 years ago before the center, you go, wow, who are you? Okay, anyway. Where was I going? Oh, okay. So there's only one. So yes, I'm not going to take personally what they say. But now I've sent them light. As I walk away, I have to understand also, everything is a message from my soul. Everything that comes into my life, because there's no accidents, there's no randomness, there's no random coincidence. There's exactly like attracts like. So anyone and anything comes my way, whether I happen to pass two people talking and I hear one word, there's no randomness. It's a word for me. I need to look at it. I need to listen to it. I need to pay attention. So everything comes my way, I have to pay attention to. So now what we have to learn here is, yes, that you want to take personally, because your soul's making the effort to get you exactly in that situation, exactly that time for whatever's going on. So as a message for you, what you need to change. Where's your curtain? How many of you can see your face without a mirror? Karen Berg, my teacher, used to say, that's why we need mirrors. Because we created ourselves that you can't see your own face. You need a reflection. So why do people go to, let's go to the best, in my opinion. You go to a Kabbalah teacher to have a reflection. So as you're telling your Kabbalah teacher, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, then whichever teacher, or what I do with my student, how can I help them see what they're not seeing about themselves? Not how do they deal with the situation. How can I help them see what's going on in them so that they can see what they don't see, the curtain, then give them the way they take away the curtain, because I can't do it for them. My teachers can't do it for me. Nobody can do it for anyone else, but I can encourage you how to take away your curtain. Now you take away a curtain, you're shining more light. But it's hard to see. Even teachers have teachers. We go to each other and say, hey, I don't see. I can't see clearly this. Let me tell you what's going on. And then they'll reflect to me. Because if I'm somewhat in the dark because of that curtain, that means I don't see it clearly. So if I go to somebody else who can see, right, because now they're not so emotionally, let's say, involved, even that extent, then they can make it clear to me, oh, now I see the connection. Now the dots are coming together. And now I want to take it personally, but not in the angry way, not in the hurt way, not in the resentful way. I want to take it in the highest way. No, I need to learn that lesson. And the hardest part of this is, let's call it, translate what was said, what was done, into what I need to hear. And I'll give you a simple example. You see people who act very arrogant. They just think they're the best things. What can we change? We have to change sliced toast. What's the next thing? They just think they're the best thing, I don't know, since the internet, right? They just think they're the greatest, hot stuff, this and this and this. But probably, I would say, my experience, probably 99% or more, they're coming from tremendous insecurity. Insecurity. This is just how they relieve their insecurity by acting like, hey, I'm the best, I'm better than you, blah, blah, blah. Now, there are some other people, though, who also have insecurity, but the way they will act upon their insecurity is what we usually think, sort of cowering away, kowtowing, being very timid and all of that. So when you look at the two, you say, oh my God, so different. Here's the timid person. Here's this arrogant person. Looks like they own the place every time they walk in. You say, no connection between them. No, like attracts like. Now you and I understand, yes, they're both feeling insecure. It just one expresses it by arrogance, the other by timidity. But it's still the same root. So now you and I have to learn how to translate whatever comes our way after we're calm, meaning you pause, you are about to take it personally, pause, you don't take it personally, say, no, now what lesson can I learn? What's the reflection in me? So if I look at somebody and I'm saying, oh yeah, well, they're acting out of their insecurity, then I have to look and say, where's my insecurity? Where is it still hiding? Right? I'm not going to look at what their behavior is, I'm going to look inside. What is it that I think is going on with them? Now that I want to see. Why? Because that's good for me. There's a benefit for me. Because if I can see where my curtains are, then I know how to get rid of them. And once I get rid of them, I benefit. And at the same time, so does the world. Because each of us who shine more light, we're making the world better. Even if it's just to make things clear. Imagine a person who's about to rob somebody. Armed robbery, right? Hit them over the head and steal their purse, their money, whatever it may be. What would happen, do you think, if at the moment they're about to hit the person and steal whatever it is, they suddenly, the clouds of darkness were disappeared. There was such a bright light, spiritual light shining on them, that they could see in their own eyes. Not because someone told them, not because, the moral or ethical thing, but they could see with their own eyes that they're about to steal $100 from this person, and because of that, the act of stealing the $100, they're going to lose $200 no matter what else happens. No way to stop it. But if they don't steal the 100, and even let's say they go and they give $10 charity, they're going to, out of somewhere, receive $100. Which do you think they're going to do? They're going to steal the 100 to lose 200, or they're going to give $10 away to get 100. What do you think? And then you translate that into anything you say. The violent person, whatever, the greedy person, the judgmental person, the hateful, it's all the same thing. You and I also, we only behave reactively because in that moment we're in the clouds of darkness. We don't see any other way out, so to speak. And that parasite, which we've given a lot of power to, just says, okay, scream and yell. Whatever the reactive, self-centered behavior is, trying to get. But we're full of light, so you can't get any more light. You have to let your light shine, not try and get more. But, like we always say, what's the reward for reactive behavior? Instant gratification. You feel immediately good, and then after a while you start to feel bad. especially you and I, because the guilt sets in, remorse. Why did I do that? How could I do that? They're my friend. I shouldn't have said that. I was so insensitive, blah, 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 whatever it is. So it's only momentarily, at best, when we act in a reactive way. So you and I are learning, no, pause, see it in a new way, look at it differently, don't give in. So I want to share with you, and I hope you're getting it, just work at figuring out what you think the impetus in their mind is. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's anger, maybe it's a sense of lack, maybe they don't think, that they're worthy or deserving, whatever it may be. Then look for that in you. And again, it may be a different form. You're just looking for that essence. So I'll share with you as we're closing here, experience that I had about 2 years ago, and without all the details, but it was one of these cosmic openings when we're making an effort to connect to what's available in the cosmos. Like, not every day is the same energy available. Technically, yes, the infinite light is always available, but since we are still coming from the human physicality world somewhat, there are, like for us, the new moon, and many of you probably been with us or streamed online. New moon is an opening in the cosmos where there's 30 days of energy available in 24 hours. So you take advantage of that. Don't you like to take advantage when the store has 2 for 1? No? You like 2 for 3, right? You pay for 3 and you get 2? No, you like 2 for 1, right? So the same thing, on the new moon and other events like that, you get all that extra energy. Take advantage of it. So it was one of those days and we were supposed to be happy. So we're going out to make this connection. And all of a sudden, as we start doing our spiritual connection, which some of you might refer to as praying, but we call it connecting with the light, all of a sudden I see in my mind's eye this vision. I see like a surround sound, like what do you call it, screen, like a movie screen, surrounds me 360 degrees. But on that screen, I see different events in my life, from when I used to get angry at my sister years ago, like all kinds of things throughout all the years of my life. But I saw, even though I saw my sister, I saw my brothers, I saw teachers, or whatever, old relationship, whatever it was, I saw it was me. Like I look at my sister and I see me, almost like that ghost, like you see in the movies a little bit, like your head sticking out sort of thing. I saw it was me. I was almost depressed. I'm supposed to be happy, a cosmic opening of happiness and joy and all of this and mercy. And I'm almost starting to feel depressed because I'm looking everywhere and all I see is me doing all these judgmental things or whatever it was. Took me, it seemed like eternity, but probably 40 minutes. And then I realized, wait a second, this is mercy. And what was the mercy? One, I could see the reflection in me. And 2, there was no one else to blame. Because this screen, this mirror, if you will, was 360 degrees. There was no space where I didn't see me. In other words, if you look like this, I hope you can all see, if you have 2 mirrors like this, okay, look over here, that's me. I look over here, that's me. But in between, no, that's you. So now I have someone to blame. You said it. You made me feel upset. You bothered me. No, 360 degrees, there was nowhere else to go. There was no one else to blame. There was nowhere else to sort of justify, rationalize my behavior. And I'm telling you, right in your face, since that time, I cannot judge people. Even I have that moment of judging, I get, Chaim, what's that in you? What's that in you? Remember, I can't, because it was visceral. It was in my eyes. You can tell me, yeah, you hallucinated. I don't care what you say. I saw it. I know it's real, and it impacted me for good, and for good, they won't even let me not remember it, right? I want to judge some of the stuff going on out there in the world today. Judge some of those people. I get smacked in the head. I must tell you also, when the whole lockdown thing started, I had a few people that I was judging before I had this experience. But even then, my teacher, the Rav, who left the world in 2013, he came back to me and he's reminding me, without all the details, he's reminding me how stop judging one soul. And I must tell you, he had to come and tell me a few times till I really understood the message, because it was really bothering me. But again, I know it was my curtain. And I figured out what my curtain was. And then, to this day, I look at those people and I just send them all light. Because if there's only me in my universe, I want every part of me to be enlightened. Just like you and I. We have our impatience, we have our negative behavior along the way. Yeah, it may be relatively minor compared to a lot of what's going on out in the world, but we've been given 100%. We're not going to stop until we have 100%. We're not going to feel complete until 100%. So we still have to look for our blockages. So we still have to remember, I want every part of me. So the people who are bothering me, I mean, how many of the 8 billion people do you really know? Honestly, you don't. Right? But you hear a few out there, this world leader or that person or this person, so what could it be? 1,000? 10? Even let's say 1 million people that you hear their name and you see or hear about what they're doing and you dislike them. 1 million out of 8 billion. Really? So those are the ones you got to send light first because you want that hurting part in you to be enlightened and be at peace. Right? You bump your toe, do you say, it's only my little toe, I don't care? No, your little toe suddenly becomes the most important part of your body when you bang it. You want to take care of it right away. So the same thing, those people out there, there's no person who is, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, doesn't matter. Insignificant. There's no person insignificant, right? If the puzzle of the world today is 8 billion pieces, and you've got 8 billion minus 1, can you really say you finished the puzzle? 1. I don't care who it is. It could be the beggar on the street somewhere. It could be the person that you think is the least important in the world. I told some friends yesterday, my uncle used to be a garbage collector in New York City. And of course, how many people really consider garbage collectors so important? But if you remember, 1964 in New York, they became the most important people in the New York City because they went on strike and the garbage piled up. I had people told me the stories. People would pack their garbage like a birthday present, leave it in their car with the windows and the doors open so people would steal what they thought was a birthday present just to get rid of the garbage. So here was my uncle, who people thought was so insignificant, who became one of the most important people in New York City in the 60s. So you never know. And you and I are learning there's nobody insignificant to me, because every one of them is a piece of me. So that's the part we want to take personally. How can I gain from what I hear or see around me? Because as you'll do that, because remember, I got to make sure. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, so we'll do this real quick. Close your eyes for a second. Humor me. Just close your eyes. Think of a loved one. Think of somebody you love tremendously, you would say unconditionally. Now, envision a beam of light out of your heart and soul going directly to their heart and soul. Pretty easy to do, no? Now, with your eyes, keep them closed. Think of somebody, maybe it's the person that you had issue with this week. Think of somebody who's been really nasty, you just held all kinds of stuff against because of what they did. Now try and beam a beam of light from your heart and soul to them. Not so easy, is it? You follow? Not so easy. Now, you can open your eyes. What's the difference? The act of beaming the light, is it really difficult? No, you close your eyes, you just envision a beam of light coming out of your heart and soul where it sits, and you're just extending it out like a flashlight, like a beacon of light. No difficulty. So what changed when you're thinking of that terrible person? Is not the inability to beam the light, it's the thought, it's the curtain. They did to me, how could they? You're taking it personally, what they said or what they did. And the saddest part, how long have you been holding on to that curtain? They may not even be in your life anymore. They may not even be in the physical world anymore. But you're still holding that curtain because you nasty person, you know what you did to me 30 years ago. Hello? Talk about stupidity. We're hurting ourselves. They've moved on. They're doing whatever they're doing, whether they're here or there. We got to stop being stupid that way. And so the Kabbalists teach us when there's enough of us, everything in our world is personal to me. How we respond, how we act determines our personal life and our life experience. Not them. Nobody determines my life. I determine it. The way I act, the way I do, what I say, etc. So we want to start your day. Just start beaming light out to everybody. Send it through your family and friends. Close your eyes, take even 30 seconds, whatever it is. Start beaming light through your family and friends, people you know, like that, and then out to everyone on earth. Everyone on earth, because you want to illuminate the world. Because when there's enough of us doing this, what they call a critical mass of people shining light, then on a quantum level, for the one soul that exists in those 8 billion bodies out there, when a critical mass of us are doing it, then what they call the Messiah, Utopia, Nirvana, heaven on earth, the Garden of Eden, will show up. Because it exists, it's just covered with a collective curtain. So when there's that critical mass, which doesn't mean 51% of the population, it means 51% of the light. And 10%, 5% of the world, 1% of the world that we have today could be enough if we're shining enough light to remove those curtains. Because then, as we're shining that light and we're removing that clouds of darkness, everybody will see the Garden of Eden. Everyone will see the cause and effect of their own actions before they do it. And then what will be their guidance? The light will be guiding everything. People, instead of acting with hatred and violence and judgment and negativity and all that chaos creating behavior, they'll pause. And they'll start to act with greater love, kindness, and compassion that we talk about. Greater love, kindness, compassion. And then there'll be so much light that the world will just live, literally, peace and harmony. As they say, what was the song? You know, and love will guide the planets and steer the stars, right? And we'll live in the Garden of Eden in this world. And which is the whole purpose of the center. So as we're all working, if you have a Zohar, scanning your Zohar, using the tools, etc., but as we're expanding what the center is doing, this is the only mission of the center. We're not here to have an organization. We're not here to do this. We're collecting enough people to create a critical mass of light shining out there that every human being on earth will be able to live in their Garden of Eden. So let's bless ourselves. Let's bless everybody out there that it will happen in our time, that we can finish the job because there's no reason. We have a worldwide internet. The worldwide spiritual internet has been around since Adam and Eve, since before Adam and Eve, when there was just the one being. It's only up to us to make use of it. So maybe we all have the strength and the guidance and the clarity and the support that we'll be able to, in our days, we'll be able to see the end of all pain, suffering, and death. God bless. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, thanks. So, okay, those of you, most of you familiar, this is the time. Bottom line is, one, I want to thank you for those of you who do support us regularly. This is a free will offering, and you know everything that you offer to the center. Number one, most importantly, to remember, is affecting 8 billion people. Right? The center is literally keeping 8 billion people in mind because we are one soul. And so everything we do is how to spread this wisdom so people will wake up and they'll know how to behave, and also the tools. And I want to remind you, as I do every week, if you don't have at least one of these, get one of these. Carry it in your pocket, your purse, put it in your car. I had a woman, oh my God, we're going to run. Okay. So please don't leave, because after our offering, we're going to do the meditation to help us. But years ago when I was teaching in London, you know, back then the project wasn't doing as much as we're doing now, but we had started our project to give these out to people who were open to have a holy book of protection and peace and love. So I happened to be in one place in a neighborhood, and because they knew who we were, one of the neighbors who had no connection to the center, whatever, came over to me and was telling me a story that one of her friends gave her one of these little blue books that she put in her car. Just told her it was protection, this and this. She didn't learn, she didn't understand, but she understood, you know, if it's a blessing, you know, like a good luck charm, except obviously on a higher level. And she was telling me the story how she got this book, and some months later, she was in a car accident, and it was a major accident, but everybody in the car, and she walked out without a scratch. And she told me she was sure that that's why the book came to her, because the accident was on the way, and this stopped people from being hurt. So yeah, the car was, you know, hurt and damaged and this, that, and the other thing. But like she said, better the car and the metal of the car and the material of the car than the people in the car. So this is what's going on, right? And I hope this week to put some of the pictures of this wave of love that we've been doing this last couple weeks because of the day of hate that's out there. But at least avail yourself of this. The Zohar Zohar just means illumination, just shines the light of God, and that's always protection. So for those of you on, let me put that here. For those of you online, please just go to the link here to give your offering. Those of you here, just hold it in your hand. We just want to bless it. Money is a vessel, and the energy we put in it is not only what it'll do out in the world, but what will come back to us. So we're always filling this offering, our gifts to the center, with light, with love, with gratitude, appreciation, and strengthening, upping the consciousness of seeing this light through the Zohar, through this wisdom, reaching the heart and soul of 8 billion people on the planet, to wake up the Creator's light inside them, influencing them to behave with greater love, kindness, and compassion from whatever level they're on to the next levels up. And then we know the effort we make and the energy we put out through this gift is how the universe will bring it back to us many times over. And together we say, Amen. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Kabbalists teach us that, let's do this, that what we call the Hebrew letters or the Aramaic letters, they're just portals to the endless world. They're not a construct of human beings. Yes, we've made it a language. You can speak in Hebrew or read in Aramaic or what have you, but they are just literally photons of the light of the Creator. So the whole group of 72 names is this chart here on your left. This is one of them. And we're using this to change our point of view. Or I think it says there, forget yourself, meaning take your personality out of the issue. Don't take it personally. Okay? The names are Lamed, Hey, Chet. Just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye, keeping in mind the names Lamed, Hey, Chet. The combination of these energies helping us to not take things personally, basically to change our point of view and be beacons of light, shining the light out instead of trying to get something in. Okay? So if I can ask you, sit comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hands comfortably in the lap. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through your mouth. Just creating a circulation of the breath of life that was infused in the origin of humanity into that first being. And God breathed into this being, and it became a living being. So we're allowing the light of the Creator that's infused in every breath to circulate through us, dissipating some of the darkness, the stress, the tension, the blockages. So that we can relax, opening up our mind, our heart, and the gates to our soul. Now we envision the Lamed, Hey, Chet above your head, seeing the beam of light from the upper worlds that's shining through these light force particles, that they're glowing and vibrating with an energy of the light, changing our perspective, giving us strength not to take things personally, and yet to see our lessons, the messages from our own soul through everything and everyone around us. And slowly allow these energy forces, Lamed, He, Chet, to enter through the top of your head, shining its light to take away all the limitations in every cell of your body, in all of your thoughts, words, and actions, cleaning out the mind from those limiting, destructive thoughts. Letting these three energies pass from head to toe, opening up your heart, activating more of the light in your soul, and activating the light in every cell of your body. That you become a stronger, more pure, clear channel, conduit of the light of the Creator from the upper worlds through you and out to all the world. So we let this energy settle in our heart. And now we meditate and envision a beam of light, this pure, unconditional love, which is shining the light unconditionally outwards. That it removes some of the curtains from our heart, where we may have felt hurt, taken advantage of, any way that we've blocked our own heart. We're now removing that blockage as we're shining the light out, sending it through our family and friends, seeing it activate a new level of the light of the Creator, unconditional sharing of light in their hearts also. That they're becoming more aware of the light of the Creator, their true potential, and more certain that they, as all of us, are pure and perfect beings of light. And then we send this light to the heart and soul of every human being on earth, with particular emphasis on the people we've had issues with, the situations that we've taken in some personal way to build a curtain covering ourselves. So that as we're beaming this light out, the curtains are disappearing. Our world, as we look out into our world, more enlightened, more of the 8 billion extensions of our world, acting with greater happiness, peace, love, tolerance, humility, kindness, generosity. We meditate through this energy, speeding up the process of people coming to this wisdom, using the Zohar and the tools, that we're removing all the clouds of darkness for every human being on earth now. That the energy of the Lamed, He, Chet removing the curtains that have created divisiveness by seeing a difference of people. And taking away this curtain, we see clearly, and you and I feel viscerally the true oneness that exists. One soul extended out from us into 8 billion bodies. But it is one. Just take a moment to notice the shift in your own energy. How much stronger you feel, certain you feel, empowered to be able to be a stronger beacon of sharing light. Setting the example of peace through difficult situations, greater harmony, greater love and unity. Allow this experience, this revelation, whatever guidance your soul has been giving you now, to be remembered, to be taken internally, to be applied in every day of your life from this moment forward. And so we'll take one more deep breath, anchoring it in to keep it with us, and then slowly exhale and open your eyes. I tell you, it's fascinating that from all over the world we can be joining together, which is really what it's all about. Unifying every person of every, whatever you want to call it, flavor of humanity, because there's only one soul and we're on that level all the same. God bless. Have a great week. Please give me some feedback. Let me know some of your transformation, your experiences, and also some of your questions. So it may also be another Spiritual Sunday topic. God bless. Have a great day and a great week. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.